Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. And as we're continuing with our project, we're working with neural networks, we're exploiting neural networks for predictive and explainable modeling for streaming data. And so going ahead, and I wanted to take you guys through my ML or machine learning operations that I've done to create a model and deploy a model that is going to work with this data. So let me just open my code right here. Yes, so here I have a model, and we are using machine learning flow to develop and deploy this model. So we're using machine learning flow and TensorFlow to develop this model. So as you can see, I have a different files which are open from I have my main file. Let me just open this just a bit. Yes. So let me just take you through a breakdown of the code and how we made this model. So this beginning we are having we're going to train our model. So here in my train.py, I have a function that trains a model. We put it in a pipeline with our features such as the data frame, and the data frame and our data set is what we're using. And then we start to create a machine learning flows experiments and models which we use to view in the machine learning in machine ML flow UI. So yeah, as you can see, we have our pipeline here that we create using this formula, this function that is called in train model, and we call it in our run.py file over here. So going ahead, we had a utils.py file that we are using to just create and set experiments. As you can see here, we are going with 4 different functions. The first function, what it does, it creates experiments in our ML flow UI. So we are creating an experiment and we are returning the experiment ID. We are getting performance plots, such as we're working with the confusion matrix, a position recall display, and a root curve ROC curve display. So this function will return the different plots and the different performance plots you're going to work with when you're modeling our project. Going ahead, we have different classification metrics too, which we are classifying using we have precision score, accuracy score, recall score, F1 score, and as you can tell, you have been these are the most classification metrics that we normally work with. And the fourth and final function here is to register a model client. So on our second here, we are still under the training of our model. As you can see, we are under the machine learning training folder. We are getting train test score set. So in this function, we are training and testing our data that we have in our data set. As you can see over here, we test and train over here, and this is how our data set looks like. We have it's just the head of a data set where we have open, high, low, close, volume. So our features are going to work with are the open, high, low, close, and volume in our data set. So yes, we are using that to train and set and test our data. Now, under just a minute, retrieve or train. I've talked about train. And the retrieval.py and preprocessing. Yes, preprocessing pipeline. This is a file that is creating our model into a pipeline. So as you can see, this pipeline, we are working with our categorical features and our numerical features. Like we said, our categorical features are the ones we shall have to work. We shall, as you have it here, we are returning our categorical features. We have performance plots. Just a minute. in the pipeline here, you have our numerical features and our categorical features, which is an empty array, and it's going to return an array of categorical features in our data set. So going back just to yes, and here we have this same function that we have is taking in our categorical features and numerical features and putting it in a pipeline so that we can train and test our model. So that is all under machine learning training, and we have the utils.py that I have talked about. Yes, and then finally our main py file that is running everything, where we import the needed packages from the different data files, and then going ahead we set our experiment name to stock price prediction. Here we are using spiking neural networks. We are trying to predict our stock prices, like I explained in the previous video to this. I'll add the link to it in the description. So our experiment name is the stock price prediction, then training classifier and registered model. So we call our data set, and process it. So we go ahead to train and test our data and return it with the get train test score set of our data set. So the features we are using here, we are trying to, in open int, what we are doing here, is the features. Since I said the features you are going to work with are open, high, low, close, and volume. So we are putting aside open int, which is not something you're going to use as our feature to train and test our model. So we are putting it aside. So on this line over here, we are setting it into a pipeline where we get the pipeline with the numerical features and the categorical features with our empty data set, an empty array, and also with the experiment ID, we are taking in an experiment name, which is over here, as I had talked about, stock price prediction. So yes, and it creates an experiment and names it with the stock price prediction. Moving on further, this chart so you can see very well. No. Not. Close this over here. Yes, I hope you can all see this. So we run and train our model using this line of code over here, where we're taking in the pipeline and the run name and the model name, as you have seen here, where we set our variables at the beginning, and then we test and predict our model, if it is going to predict a value within the range or the value outside the range. So here we are returning the classification matrix from this function that we have of get classification matrix, which is in our other file of utils over here, yes, that we have talked about, where our classifications are the accuracy score, the precision score, and numerical score. So yes, our classification matrix are returned with the test, and we are testing it, as well as the performance plots that we are returning, where I talked about a confusion matrix and everything. So the last line of code, it runs our first ML flow over the UI that we are working on the UI side. And so it returns the different details that we have worked with here, the tests and train data, the performance plots, the classification matrix, and all. And yes, so that's basically it for my model over here. Setup UI file is just a file I use for building our initial project and installing requirements. As you can see, our requirements quite a number, where you're working with NumPy, pandas, scikit-learn, matplotlib, TensorFlow, and all, and the descriptions of what you're using. So when I'm running at the beginning, I make sure I have all this installed in my in my project. Yes. So that's basically it from my presentation. I'm going to embed the code to the description, and the code is all on GitHub. You can check it out and run it and see if it works for you.